Welcome into the Ravens Rundown, powered by Chat Sports. Tyler Jones here with you. So glad to have you with us. On today's show, we have the latest playoff picture for your Baltimore Ravens. What's it going to take to win the AFC North? We already know that they're in the show, but what can they do to help out their playoff odds? We will tell you in just a few moments from right now. Also have the latest injury report on Baltimore as well. Before we do that, if you want to see the Ravens not only win the division, but win playoff games, you need to subscribe to the channel. Sub for dubs for the latest happenings on your favorite team. We got them covered here on Ravens Rundown with the latest news and rumors, as well as post-game and pre-game reaction. Turn on notifications so you never miss a moment. Subscribe to the channel now as we get started with today's show. We are talking about the playoff picture, and this is a fascinating situation for the Ravens right now with where things stack up as we look at the playoff picture going into tonight with the Ravens taking on the Bengals. And some of you may be watching this, or the Bills taking on the Bengals, rather. You may be watching this as that game is in progress. And we're all Bills fans, essentially, at this point tonight, as the only chance the Ravens have to win the division is if two things happen, that the Bengals lose to the Bills tonight, and then the Ravens beat the Bengals coming up this weekend. We don't know what the time of that game will be just yet, but for all intents and purposes for tonight, we need a Bills win. Need the Bills to take care of business, to beat the Bengals, and then the Ravens have a chance to work things out from there. They don't control their own destiny. They did at one point, but not anymore. So, Ravens fans, please, get in the comments section. Let's be Bills fans tonight. Spam Go Bills in the comments section if you want to see the Ravens walk away with the AFC North title. So here is the percentages according to ESPN's Football Power Index of how things stack up for Baltimore. Their chances of being the number 3 seed, not very high, about 22% that is, with those two things happening. A Bills win over the Bengals, and then the Ravens following up and winning a game against Cincinnati on Sunday. Now, the two other positions, if they're not the 3 seed and don't win the division, could potentially be the 5 seed. If they win the division, no matter what, they'd be that 3 seed. They can't go any higher, can't go any lower. But if they are in the wild card scenario, then they could be one of two things. A 5 seed, there'd have to be some very unusual things, like some ties involved and whatnot, for them to end up as the 5 seed. The most likely scenario is that Baltimore ends up as the number 6 seed, about a 74% chance that happens at this point, which assumes that the Bengals win one of these two games to finish out the regular season. And then let's look at some numbers from 538 as far as this goes. The Bengals, their percentage chance to win the AFC North of just having to win one of the next two, pretty dang high at 84%. That means that the Ravens are at about a 16% chance to win the AFC North. So odds not in the Ravens' favor. It's not impossible. It can be done, but it looks unlikely their chances of winning the division. And then, just as far as the outlook for these next couple of games go, the Bengals' chances to beat the Bills tonight is about 52%. The Bills are a bit of an underdog, but when you have a quarterback like Josh Allen, anything is certainly possible as far as that goes. And then, following that up with the game on Sunday between the Ravens and the Bengals, the Ravens have about a 31% chance of winning that game. And we do have an injury update on Lamar Jackson that we'll get to in just a bit. I think that's a big part, obviously, of the Ravens' chances of winning this game come down to whether Lamar Jackson plays or not, as well as several other guys. So those are the statistics. Quite simply, the Ravens need to beat the Bengals on Sunday and then need a loss tonight for the Bengals against the Bills. They do those things, they win the AFC North. Remember, the Ravens not too long ago had the easiest remaining schedule in the National Football League. They've had some terrible injuries pop up. I get that, but it was a missed opportunity for this Ravens team. Your chance to weigh in the comments section. Will they win the AFC North? Y for yes, in for no. Let me know in the comments section. You might get an ad break. If so, take advantage of it. Get your votes in. Y for yes, in for no if the Ravens will win the North. So let's go over those injury updates heading into the final week of the regular season. We begin with Lamar Jackson. We haven't seen Lamar Jackson play in several weeks, and we were told that the Ravens kind of saw some progress in Lamar. They were hopeful that he would have returned a couple of weeks ago. Obviously, that did not happen. So what about this week for the regular season finale? Here's what John Harbaugh said. I don't know. I don't have an expectation until I hear more today. I just can't think about that. I'm just going to listen to the doctors and to Lamar, and we're prepared. Now, here's the deal. Tyler Huntley is a fine backup, but I think that's too tall of a task to try to beat the Cincinnati Bengals without Lamar Jackson. I do not believe they can win that game if Lamar Jackson is not available, quite frankly. They have to have him there if they are going to win this football game. And when you look at just where this team is at, I would say that Lamar only needs to play if he's obviously, 100% healthy, and then 2, if they're not eliminated from winning the AFC North. If they're already out by the time Sunday's game rolls around, then go ahead and let Lamar and the rest of the starters have the week off, rest up, and go into the playoffs with a little bit of rest on that front. So with that said, I'll say this, and I'll say it again. I don't think Baltimore can beat Cincinnati without Lamar Jackson. If you agree with that statement, type T for true. If you disagree with that statement, type F for false. Let me know in the comments section below. Got some great jerseys we're offering on sale now at chatsports.com/Ravens jersey. Whether you want to rock out with Lamar or Mark Andrews, maybe it's you want to throw back to the Ray Lewis days, or if you want to be wearing the purple, the black, the gold, any shape and sizes, we got you covered with Ravens jerseys on sale now. Get yours today while supplies last, just in time for the playoffs. Chatsports.com/Ravens jersey. Get yours now. That's chatsports.com/Ravens jersey. Couple more injury updates for you. Let's look at Calais Campbell and Marcus Peters. Now, John Harbaugh was very optimistic about both guys and their status going forward, and the Ravens obviously need both players here. Here's what Harbaugh said on both of them. He said, yeah, I do feel confident. I think Calais and Marcus have a chance to come back and play as early as this week. And when you look at what Calais Campbell obviously brings on that front seven, and when you look at Marcus Peters, what he's capable of in that secondary, and remember, Brandon Stevens also suffered an injury there in that game. They're a little shorthanded in that secondary. They need all bodies involved to be able to play. And then there's Morgan Moses, who also left the game this past Sunday against the Pittsburgh Steelers. And what seemed to be a very cautionary situation when he went down, we got very good news from John Harbaugh as far as his status goes when it comes to Morgan Moses. It doesn't look like anything serious when it comes to the injuries. We got out of the game without anything serious to anybody, including Morgan. So that's all positive there as far as Morgan goes. So we've talked a lot about injuries on this show all year long. This team has been banged up, and yet here they are. They found a way to still win 10 games, still have a chance potentially to win the division. What's your level of concern about the Ravens' injuries right now? If you had to scale it for me, 1 through 10, what would it be? Let me know in the comments section what your level of concern is as far as the injury front goes for this Baltimore Ravens team. As always, you can interact with me on social media, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, talking about your Baltimore Ravens. Going to be a very interesting week. We'll see if the Ravens can find a way to win the AFC North title. If they don't and end up having to rest some guys next week before that wild card round, that's not the end of the world. We've seen wild card teams still win the Super Bowl. So we'll figure it all out here this week. Stay tuned to the channel. We'll have you covered here on the Ravens Rundown. Thanks for joining us.